And for a local reaction to the climate change announcement today, I was joined earlier by Ray Wills from the WA Sustainable Energy Association. Ray Wills, welcome to Stateline.
Thanks, Eliza.
So what do you make of the government's policy?
Look, I think what we're looking for from both sides of politics is clean air, not hot air. And today we haven't heard any substantial promises that are going to change Australia's fortune as far as renewable energy is concerned.
All right, well, so there was a commitment for a $1 billion investment in renewable energy. Isn't that a step in the right direction?
It is, but it's a long way behind what the rest of the planet is doing.
Does it all become meaningless if there is no price on carbon from both parties?
You can achieve a lot through investment strategies, and certainly that's what the opposition have proposed. But again, the promises from the opposition have been insubstantial in this space.
How do those two policies, or commitments at least from the coalition and from the government, square off against each other?
Look, there's no doubt that the announcements by the Prime Minister today are better than what we had yesterday. They are a step in the right direction, but they're very small steps. If we compare it to, for example, what China will invest over the next 10 years, there's a new paper out that says China will be investing $780 billion over 10 years. On a comparison, China's GDP is about 10 times that of Australia in rough terms. If Australia invested the same as China, we'd be spending $8 billion a year for the next 10 years on renewable energy.
But to what extent do you think climate change, the bigger picture as such, which was such a huge issue before the Copenhagen summit, how does that play in the mortgage belt?
Look, according to the ABS study that I referred to, 74% of Australians, this is a study published 12 months ago, 74% of Australians are ready for action on climate change. That's what the study said.
Are they ready for the reality, though?
Look, there's certainly an issue in terms of price and people's willingness to pay. But I think the reality is that if governments actually take commitments, if we saw some wind turbines on top of Parliament House, if we saw the federal government actually buying green energy for its own operations, if we saw the federal government actually spending money in that way, then we might actually see a greater understanding of that commitment from the general public. We're certainly seeing that happen in businesses. Businesses are moving into green buildings, businesses are greening their fleet, they're doing vehicle offsets, a whole range of things. And the householders, there's a small level of participation in that space. Certainly government programs, both federal and state, are encouraging people to take up more renewable energy and at a state level a feed-in tariff. But sticking with the federal scene, clearly there's a whole range of new initiatives that the government can participate in, both in terms of its own expenditure, in terms of the policy and regulation that sets the market up for success, and in terms of that establishing a carbon price and seeing significant action, which is really about managing Australia's future carbon liability.
All right, Ray Wills, thanks for your time.
Okay.